Hey, Groovy Gardeners. We're in the garden tonight, and I have a guest who wants to ask a few questions about the garden. So, you have any questions?
Yes. First of all, beautiful garden out here.
Appreciate
I,
it.
I love the diversity that you have with plants, which actually leads up to my question is, how do you pick and choose which plants and vegetables or flowers to mix in with one another?
Oh, okay. Something like companion planting. I would say, the reason why, I would intermingle plants and the how I know is because the way the plant grows. So, a plant like this, I could plant rosemary here, right? Because rosemary isn't gonna get in the way of the fajoa or pineapple guava, right? So that's why I'm able to grow this rosemary here. Same thing with this pineapple,
Wow, I wish you guys were here because this rosemary is smells just amazing. Can't
right?
wait to do something with that.
Right. Yeah, you could cook with this. You can make teas with it. Anything of that nature with tea. You can make tinctures and oils as well. Um, Things like here I have corn.
Corn, you say?
Yeah, that's white queen corn, and it actually grows a white cob. And the reason why I planted these together is because um, just knowing the way things grow. Like I said, behind there is a burgundy okra, and then back there are melons and then radishes. And that's why I grew the crop that way, because the corn will get the tallest, the okra will get the second tallest, then the melons, then the radish grow underground in the pattern of how the sun is directed to this bed.
So you're telling me that you have four different plants in here growing all together, and you said it was what again?
White queen corn, burgundy okra, a few different types of melons, and a few different types of radishes.
Man, that's so groovy.
Right. And so that's how you know how to which crops you can intermingle, just by knowing um how the plant grows, right? So these are some goji berries right here that I interplanted um with a orange, a Murcott Semidorf mandarin, right? And then as you can see, I actually interplanted with some peppers, right? Now I did that because these peppers aren't going to get in the way of these trees, right? And vice versa. These peppers can grow under these trees. So that's how I know which plants I could intermingle, by knowing how they grow. So you have any other questions for us today?
I see that you have quite a bed full of wood chips. Can you explain the benefits or why you went with wood chips instead of just a plain dirt or
Sure.
soil?
Sure. Okay, so we usually use wood chips here in the Groovy Garden, simply because we don't come up with our own ideas in our garden. We mimic the what we already see happening out in nature, right? In
Beautiful.
the forest, there are wood chips, there are leaves, there are trees on the floor, there are layers in the on the forest floor, right? And that's what I do. I mimic that same uh forestry that happens in the forest, and then I implement it here, maybe at a faster pace, by maybe throwing organic material um, down by myself, so it speeds up the process. um, but other than that, we don't really come up with our own ideas. As far as growing the plants, we mimic what we already see doing, what we already see happening in nature, what's already successful.
Well, man, that is beautiful. Say it to the people again one more time. We just mimic nature, and remind them again. We're out in the middle of the desert.
Right. Right. So we are in Nevada. We're in Las Vegas in the desert. Um and they say you can't really grow out here. right? And as you can see, this is celery, you know,
Wow, look at that thing. It's just going.
right? And
You got to mix it with some other things, don't you?
yeah,
All
yeah.
kinds of different celeries.
Yup. I do have some peppermint celery here as well. This right here is peppermint celery. And then you can see some sunflowers coming up. And the reason why I planted sunflowers here, because it's the corner of the bed, and when these grow big to big sunflowers, it will actually attract pollinators like bees and other pollinators to come when they see a big flower, and they'll come and pollinate my other plants, such as my orange trees and berries and other things that needs to be pollinated to provide a fruit.
Now, I don't mean to jump ahead of this or anything, but you got me really excited with this garden here. Is that bananas that I see out there?
Yeah, we do have bananas. We have strawberries coming in, and
Wow, look at all these different berries.
these are raspberries. And we also do have some bananas here that I do have some lights on currently, because they weren't doing so well without the light. I do have these real close to the wall, so they do need a lot more light. So I'm providing them a little bit more light till they get bigger and could sustain on their own. But right now they're doing okay.
I also see something else in there. Can you describe what that is?
Um, that would be katuk. That's katuk. That's a real nutritious plant that you can actually just harvest the leaves and eat the leaves of this plant. It grows usually in hotter climates. But since the weather's been a little funky, we haven't been too hot. We haven't had too much heat. These plants aren't the happiest, but that's why we're providing them a little bit of extra light.
Like you said, mimicking nature again.
Right, right.
So describe a little bit more of what else we have over here. Because I see a huge variety of different living, breathing plants. Again, beautiful garden, man. I'm so impressed with what you got back here. Again, in the desert.
Okay, okay. So, um, here are something called loquats. I call them loquats. I call them loquats. They're similar to an apricot, but a lot more sweeter. These actually bear a lot of fruit. They don't get very large, but they can get large. They can stay small, just depending on the variety, and they'll be about this size. Depending on the variety, I know some get really big, like the champagne variety. Those get really big. Um, those back there are raspberries. A few different variety of raspberries. And
What's this? Look at that thing going.
this right here is a garlic flower. So this is my garlic actually going to flower, and which it's going to actually produce seeds. So I'm allowing my plants to go to flower so I can collect the seeds and grow these varieties years to come. Even when these varieties are outdated um, and you can't purchase them in the store, I will be able to provide myself them or my friends with these seeds.
Now, what about this tree right here? I see, what is those? Peaches?
Yeah, these here are peaches. Um,
Wow, look at all that fruit.
I don't remember the specific variety. Let's see. Red Baron peaches. So these are Red Baron peaches. And I counted between my two trees, that are fruiting right now. I have about 40 peaches coming. And then I have one more that hasn't woke up yet that looks like it's going to be giving us a few more fruit. I do want to talk to you guys as well about cuttings. You don't always have to throw away your cuttings. When you cut your maybe your kales down, or your apple tree, when you trim your apple tree, or your cherry tree, right? What you can do is you can get a bucket. These have holes in it, so all I did was stick a plastic bag in there, right? Gardening doesn't always have to be expensive, right? Now, the water will get bad after a while, but I change this on a weekly basis, maybe once a week. And as long as you do that, the water should stay good, right? And then your plants eventually should root. If they don't, then they don't. If they do, then you have a new, uh, uh, a replica of what you've already grown. And same thing here.
What kind of cuttings we have over here?
This here would be just kale cuttings, a few different kale cuttings, a cherry plum cutting that's not doing so well. But usually with this guy, the leaves will fall off, but the plant is still alive. The leaves will fall off, and then it'll grow new nodes and shoot out new nodes and regrow later after it grows roots. So even if your plants look dead, they're not always dead, guys. Right? Um but yeah,
Anything else you'd like to recommend to people out there who want to get started or wish to know a little bit more about gardening, or maybe anybody who just doesn't believe that you can grow in the desert?
I would say just get started, guys. Like I always say on my channel, it's not up to you. It's up to the plant and the sun and the environment that you provide for it. So that's all you have to do. It's not really up to you, right? Water it and see if it produces, right? That's the best way to go. Learn what grows best in your environment. Don't listen to the big box stores or those big bosses that tell you what to do. Hey, you can't grow that. Hey, you can't grow this, because it's not true, right? What you want to do is attempt to grow whatever you can, grow different varieties, grow it many different times, grow it during different seasons, to see if you can grow that particular plant. And then once you're able to grow that plant, then keep those seeds and grow that that variety year after year. If it comes back, allow those certain plants that take over your garden, as long as you utilize that plant and you eat off of it, allow it to take over. Something like this blackberry or these raspberries, these weren't planted over here at all, but they've traveled from this berry patch to over here, right? And I'm gonna actually allow it. The reason why is because it wants to. It's going where it chose to go, and since it wants to be here, that's fine. It's choosing to grow there, and it's gonna grow well. So I'm gonna allow it to stay here, and I'm gonna allow it to grow there and provide me fruit later. Even though I want to crop certain plants here, I'm gonna just go ahead and allow these plants to take this spot, since it wants to grow there and wants to produce some fruit for me, right?
Now, how about explaining to some people? I don't know if this is pretty common knowledge, but there's such thing as thornless berries.
Correct. So this right here is a thorned variety. There's like thorns on it. Let's see. See that? So there's thorns on here, while you have this variety with no thorns. It's more smoother.
And what kind of berry is that?
They're both raspberries. I don't remember the specific. This one, matter of fact, this one is a gold raspberry that's coming out real soon. And then I believe this one is the Joan variety. I have a few here with the tags. So here's another one of the gold. Fall gold everbearing raspberry. Here, that's the thorned. Then you have the Joan J. And that's unthorned. No thorns on there. Then you have, let's see. I might have lost the tag for this variety, but it is thorned. And then I have another one that's thorned here with a different color. It's like it's thorned, but it has like purple.
I see the purple on
tint to it. And this is the, sorry guys, royalty purple, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I grow these so close together is because what'll happen is they'll pollinate each other, right? And then they'll allow each other to produce more fruit.
Just beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I wanted to give a shout out to all the Cali people. I see some kumquat over there, huh?
Yes, this right here is a kumquat. We almost have one ready.
We got another one there too.
We have a few coming in, but we have one almost ready. This will be ready maybe a month or two. Because these will usually, oranges usually look ready, but they're not ready until they're real easy to come off the tree, right?
And what do we have down here?
This here is a black zebra tomato.
You got a tomato and an orange.
Yeah, intercropped with the kumquat, as well as a pepper. And then this here is something I'll be doing another episode on. And what it is, it's just a way to be self-sufficient, guys. We'll talk more about that at another time. Maybe in the next episode we'll talk about how I made this and what it does, right? But I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Come back anytime, and if you have any questions, you guys want to come see the garden, stop by. We'll very much appreciate it. Have a groovy day. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you learned something today.